Okay, good morning delegates and welcome to Blackpool. I'm aware that our town is considered by some as the spiritual home of Elcrig, as its roots are firmly embedded here. And for me, as the relatively new Cabinet Member for Highways and Traffic Management, this is something very special. As Cabinet Member, I was invited to join a number of professional associations, but none have had the vibrant energy and community spirit of Elcrig. This conference is extremely important, as roads and highways generally are fundamental to all our lives and very often forgotten as our greatest asset, with society relying on them as the basis to access jobs, health, education and social connections. I am pleased key themes include innovation and collaboration, as they are so important to creating the conditions for quality design and investment. Yesterday, I listened intently as so many of you spoke of exciting innovations, and I look forward to hearing the announcement from DFT later this afternoon. So the conference programme is comprehensive, and I'm sure you'll find it extremely useful and informative. I hope you enjoy the event and also get the opportunity to see or visit a few of Blackpool's amazing attractions. I feel sure that learning and working together in collaboration, we can keep Elcrig ahead of the curve in highways and traffic management. Thank you and enjoy the conference.
Good morning, I'm John Blackledge, Director of Community and Environmental Services. Paula and Suzanne had asked me if I would come along and give a bit of an update in terms of Blackpool's regeneration journey, and I'm really delighted to do that. I did in fact show, for some of you who were here last year, a bit of a video in relation to our central development, but it's amazing in terms of the journey. It's not just about the central development, it's about a number of areas. I'm really glad they didn't ask me to talk about the revenue budget, because like most of you here, that's pretty tough. It doesn't get any easier, does it? But we've been on a £2 billion development programme within Blackpool. For those of you who arrived by train, you would have seen that our new offices opposite the train station are firmly established. That was phase 1 of Talbot Gateway with the new Sainsbury's and car park, investment in Talbot Road car park. You'll also see that across from the train station now, there's a new Holiday Inn hotel with the Marco Pierre White restaurant going to open Easter next year, along with the new tramway interchange that connects the tramway to the rail, which is really important and something we're really excited about. If you then walk past those buildings, you'd have seen a huge development there, which is office blocks for DWP, 3,000 new civil servants going to be entering into that area, which will be really important in terms of footfall and expenditure in our town centre. Also across the way from there, we've already started buying up properties, because we were going to be developing a £100 million multiversity that we've got levelling up funding towards. And that's a partnership between Blackpool and Fowle College and Lancaster University and the council. Also, just within that area as well, there's other developments around the edge, which is a business facility and centre, which for those who are interested at some point in looking at some of the developments that are happening, we'd be quite happy to sort of do a bit of a walk round and show you. It's also fantastic in this area that last year we spoke about the new exhibition facilities, and they're here now, and also across the road in terms of St John's Church at the back of there, the new fall food hub at Abingdon Street Market, and also discussions well down the way in investment in our post office, what was our traditional main post office of the town, but potentially will be a new 4-star hotel, along with discussions, the car park opposite here for a new 4-star hotel as well. I also spoke about the IMAX cinema that was emerging, but if you go down the side of this building, you'll see that it's there, and in December it'll be opening. One of the most exciting IMAX cinemas that's going to be in this region, also with a signature restaurant as well. Further then, as you move to the other side of the tower, we've got a new Showtown Museum opening next year, and hopefully, if you're here next year, we'll be able to take delegates to that to see that new museum of Blackpool. And that's there where the central development is. And most of you in the past potentially would have parked on that area, but that's the £300 million development. And again, that's well underway because phase one of that was to build a 350 space multi-use car park, which will be opening in January now. That then gives us the ability then to start actually on the project itself. And the first part of that will be the leisure quarter, which will have one of these state-of-the-art flying circuses. There'll be other things like there, 4-star hotel, food hall, investment in some apartments, in some listed buildings, and a new bar facility that will be there. As you go further south, we've got, again, levelling up funding. There's going to be a huge investment in housing in that area. It is an area that, you know, Paula and myself and others within the authority have concerns about. We've got a lot of private rented sector in the area. This is going to make a huge difference over a number of years and a huge investment. Again, at the football club and supported by Levelling Up, we've got new sports village facilities as well that we're starting on shortly. And then as you go further south, there's investment in our investment EZ zone, it's called, enterprise zone, where we're investing more than £300 million in that area. That's probably a bit of the tip of the iceberg because we're also investing 150 million from Environment Agency funding and DEFRA funding in our sea defences. And again, it's easy to say in it, 150 million, actually delivering that through the process and the procurement process is going to be a major challenge because it's about also not only the sea defence, but it's about creating groins across Blackpool. Those groins are going to change the landscape of our beaches, particularly the iconic area outside the tower between the central and north pier. So there's a lot of work in communication with businesses and people in terms of doing that. But what we must do is make sure that we protect the toe of the sea defences because we're losing sand much faster than the model was saying. So you'll see that, you know, across the country these groins are appearing because they're retaining sand to protect sea defences, and obviously that's in Blackpool protecting residential properties but also protecting our economic infrastructure, the tramway, the illuminations and businesses along the promenade. So there's a massive amount actually happening within Blackpool. It is challenging. We didn't roll over and die when they started these cuts, which we could have done. Most of you probably have done the same sort of thing. We created a growth and prosperity team with lots of risks in terms of doing that, but it is paying dividends. It is very, very, very challenging. If we hadn't have done that, there wouldn't have been this investment because the investment, 90% plus, is led by Blackpool Council. So it has been really important. But one thing I've got to say about all these things is what's really the biggest and most important thing around it is the highways and the highway network, how it works when construction's taking place, and also what it looks and feels like afterwards. So those of you who know Ian Large sat over there, head of transport and traffic management within Blackpool, him and his team have really got the work cut out because we really are having to look innovatively and we need to look collaboratively about how we improve our network. And you know what it's like, there's things been done years ago that were the right thing to do at that time, but now are not the right thing and need undoing, and that takes a lot of thought, as you know. So the highways are really key to everything that's happening and really a big challenge. So again, as Councillor Burdess said, have a great day today, and if you get the chance, get out into Blackpool and see a few of the attractions. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Is that the response I'm going to get for this morning? I've actually lost my voice. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Brilliant. Firstly, an apology. For those of you that watch my weekly video vlog, I don't have my horse trying to crash in on things, so apologies for that. I don't want to speak for long, but I do want to say a few things. And also, one of the reasons I asked Paula and John to speak is because Elcrig's growth has been impressive as Blackpool's has been. And for those of you that have been coming to Strictly over the years, and we're in our 5th year this year, you'll have seen not only the growth that Blackpool is doing, but also the growth that Elcrig is doing. So thank you, John and Paula. I really want to say a huge thank you to our main sponsors, Keeley Group. The networking sponsors last night, Galliford, Try, all of those lovely drinks, cakes, and everything else that we thoroughly enjoyed are thanks to our sponsors. Thank you to all of our award sponsors, to our table sponsors, and our board members for helping me pick the topics for this year. So if you've got topics and ideas for next year, please speak to our board members and we'll look to see what we can do, because we're always continuing to learn as an organisation. We had hoped to have a very special keynote address today, but sadly, Andy Burnham, as you might imagine, is engrossed in other matters at the moment. But what I am going to do is I'm going to ask Darren to join us on the stage later on. He's going to follow Martin, who just wants to say a few words after me. But we couldn't entirely make you all wait till tomorrow to hear some of the major announcement that DFT has made in the past couple of days, because we know that affects every local authority in this room, and we're not that mean. So last year I talked about Elcrig's growth. This year we're now at 155 associates. That's everything from multi-billion pound organisations that are supporting Elcrig and local authority activities, right through to SMEs and single specialist consultants. We have over 112 highways authorities that are now members of Elcrig. 112, with 19 more pending applications, all local authorities that want to sort of join in that sort of collaboration piece that we're very much a part of. Our work with DFT and the Transport Technology Forum has grown immeasurably, and many of you will have seen the work that we're doing, and again, Darren will talk some more about that. But also, we're supporting councils, supply chain, through regional groups, through webinars, through individual support mechanisms and so forth. I'm pleased to say that the Innovation Festival next year is already scheduled for the first week in July, so please make that note in your diary. But next year, the Innovation Festival will be bigger and better, but actually we'll be renaming it Innovation and Learning. So there will be learning and CPD zones. There will be much more of an emphasis of not just innovation implementation, but also what we can all learn, not just new up and coming through the ranks, but also those that, where we need to keep our skills ahead. Next year, we're also introducing a number of research areas which Carla and our team has been working with me on EDI this year, and Carla will be speaking later. Many of you who were here last year will remember that Carla had pretty much just had her 20th birthday, so was on the stage, and Carla is again, for me, part of that next generation. In addition, we'll soon be releasing Strictly 2024 dates. So again, we hope to see more of you next year. And finally, let me just talk about collaboration over the next couple of days. We've really thought long and hard about the programme this year. It's immensely difficult pulling together a programme when we have so many people from very different backgrounds. But there are some really interesting things to sort of share with yourselves. We have some Slido questionnaires. There are some QR codes, and we're supporting DFT in those Slido questions. So please seek those out, and that's around road condition. And you'll see those, again, dotted sort of around the room. But again, if you directly go to Slido, you'll find those under hashtag Strictly23. Finally, we'll also be talking about the innovation procurement system. Again, I think something which is critically and vitally important. It's something that Martin, our chair, has worked tirelessly to bring to fruition. And we're thrilled that we're doing that with Crown Commercial Services, which means that genuinely, if you want to procure innovation, there is now a system to be able to do that. And, and we will continue to release categories so that we can embody all of the sector. And finally, have a really great time. I know my voice is gone. I dread to think what it's going to be like by Friday. But please, please network. Please make sure you go and see the exhibitors. We've added into the programme extra time for coffee breaks and lunch breaks. None of us would be here if it wasn't for the sponsors, the exhibitors and everything. So it really is part of our duty to go and talk to them and actually learn new things. And also collaborate on knowledge, collaborate on practice, collaborate on ways of working. And finally, if you can find some time, have some fun too. Because I think the one thing that LCRIG embodies is laughter and having fun. And actually, we all know psychologically we often learn more when we're in a relaxed frame of mind. So again, please enjoy yourself. Martin, I know you want to say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, Paula, I'd like to just express a bit of disappointment in the fact that you let the cat out of the bag, that we lost our keynote speaker, Andy Burnham, because I've been sat there for the last 20 minutes convincing those on my table that I was the keynote address for this conference. But here I am in my filling position, and I just wanted to say a few words as chair of LCRIG. And first of all was to echo what Paula said about the lineup. What a great lineup we've got for the next couple of days. I hope that we're able to hold your interest over those 2 days. The sessions that we've got planned are designed to do exactly that. So there's great value in that. The real value, however, in this conference is all of you good people who are here today. That's what the real value is. It's not necessarily, whilst it will be interesting to listen to the debates and the discussions and the presentations that are being given up here over the course of the next 2 days, probably the real value is in you getting together in your networking that Paul has mentioned. Both up in the teas, the coffees, and this evening over dinner at the awards, and thereafter, should you choose to do so. So those of you who know me know that I've had a blast is the right words in Martin Duffy's language. I've had a blast for the last number of years. Initially as chief executive and then more latterly as chair of LCRIG, and I reflect back to a little bit on those early days where I describe it as a roller coaster ride, where there were Will Britton and Suzanne and Charlotte and myself, and it was like we were riding this wild thing with our hands in the air, and it was just so great to belong to. And it's still like that now. It still sort of feels like that even now. It's lost none of that interest at all. In terms of my involvement with LCRIG, it goes back many years really, beyond just those last number of years in that formal role. I was involved in writing case studies for government. Matthew Lugg, who's here today, very heavily involved in the HMET programme. And I was commissioned to write a couple of case studies around Blackpool and Project Amber and LCRIG in order to share that with the highways sector. But since becoming CEO of LCRIG a few years ago, I look back last night was this morning, it was 3:15 this morning when I scribbled down these notes here about what should I say. And I thought, have we really achieved that in that space of time? We've become a community interest-based company. We've obtained ISO 44001. We've become a member of the Institute of Collaborative Working, and you'll hear from Frank Lee, who's the chief executive of that organisation shortly, where Frank, I hope, will mention what we're about to do with ICW, which is, we talk about bringing the industry together, don't we, within LCRIG, and we've done a great job for local government. There's another part of our sector, which is the strategic road network. Anyway, we've made great strides in what we're about to do with the strategic road network. So in conjunction with Dave O'Neill, who's the Director of Supply Chain in National Highways, they're coming together. So LCRIG will look after local government highways and all of its supply chain. Dave O'Neill will look after strategic running. There's so much synergy, so much alike. We've got so much going on that's the same, and that's what we're going to explore. And that will be under Frank's guidance in his role in the Institute of Collaborative Working. Of course, you know, we've got the training database that Kerry has worked tirelessly at bringing through to fruition, and indeed, you know, now a schooling for highways apprentices at Salford, so some great things there. And the IPS, of course, that's been mentioned, and you'll hear more from Jason and from Andy, who are sat over on that table later this morning about the IPS. That incidentally nearly did kill me. And if it hadn't been for my old dad, who always used to say, you shouldn't avoid things just because they're hard to do. If they're the right thing to do, then do them. Because my word, I could have given up on that IPS. I can't even tell you how many times, but we didn't. And we got to a point where we're delighted that it's been launched now. So I think I played my part in an unprecedented growth in both scale and reputation with Elcrig over the past number of years. But, you know, now in the words of Frank Sinatra, it's time for me to stand down. It's time for me to let others into this space that can take Elcrig on to a new space, you know, to help us continue with the accelerated growth that we've experienced all the way along so far. And I feel I've played my part. I feel I've done what I can. It is, you know, I have given Elcrig what I am able, and it's the right time for me to stand down now as chair. So over the course of this year, my role will diminish. I'll be finishing off all those things, the formal engagements that I've got as chair of Elcrig, but I will forever be around to support Paula and Kerry and Suzanne and other board members in whatever that might be. So a new chair, perhaps, for Elcrig. Nothing's been nailed, nothing's been formally agreed, but early discussions we've had already. And, you know, perhaps this individual will be someone who doesn't swim in the same pool that we do. So maybe we'll bring a new perspective, a new view. We'll be able to help us look at alternative things that otherwise we wouldn't have done, you know, under sort of my guidance, because I only know the places to go and look. I'm an old highways fuddy-duddy. I've done it for 40 odd years. So I ain't got a check, you know, this old dog ain't got no new tricks. So maybe some new blood into Elcrig will help us continue with that accelerated growth. So I'm going to say it's not really goodbye from me, because I'm going to be around, hopefully, at every Strictly Highways events that are held over the course of the next number of years, plus the Innovations Festival and other things that the team decide to take on during the course of the development of Elcrig. So I'll hope to catch up with many of you, as ever, at these events over the course of the next couple of days. Please come and say hello, and like I say, it's not goodbye. Do enjoy these next 2 days. Do get engaged. Do participate, because that's how you'll enjoy it more and you'll get more value out of this. So please enjoy the next couple of days, and I'll see you over the course of these 2 days. Thank you.